we pulled that clam back and my heart just, you know, it hit me in my mouth. I finally found one of these two cars. This was the holy fricking grail McLaren F1 predecessor prototype. So I've spent my whole life chasing the supercar dream, and that has amounted to lots and lots of fake supercars like Ferrari F40s, Lycan Sports, Diablos, Murcielagos, 355s. But do you know what? I feel like I may have finally made it to the supercar world. If you squint and hop on one leg and ask only people that think this car looks like a supercar, then maybe I've entered the supercar world. And I've found a car called an Ultima. And an Ultima basically looks like a full-on Le Mans car. Absolute beautiful car that looks like it's doing 200 miles an hour just parked up. So basically, this is what I've been told. This may not be completely factual, and someone out there in the Ultima community is going to punch me in the throat with some angry facts in the description below. So before Ultima was taken over, it was owned by Mr. Noble, okay? And Noble sports cars came out a bit later on, but Mr. Noble developed the Ultima Sports, okay? And a lot of people now know the Ultima GTR, and it's a very iconic car which has changed bit by bit over the years. But the Ultima Sports was slightly different. So basically, to the untrained eye, it looks like an Ultima GTR, but the rear body itself curves over instead of has that lovely lip with the panel like that, like a normal trunk of a car. The Ultima Sports has an oval shape, like a bottom, basically, a nice apple bottom on my Ultima. This car itself has been hidden in a barn in Hampshire, and my driver David, who we call Famous Dave, went out to buy two smart cars because they make money in England, and I also own a normal dealership. And he said, Sam, I know you love weird and quirky stuff, but I'm going to send you a picture. Sent me a picture of all I could see was, I didn't know what it was, I could see a supercar in a barn. And I'm talking, it had a cushioned lion or a tiger on the back of it with carpets and cups of tea and an old sign rested against it. But to my untrained eye, it looked like a regular supercar. And my eyes lit up. I was like, let's go see it, let's go see it, let's go see it. He's like, don't want to sell it, don't want to sell it. So I went up there and I did the Sam Hard thing. I schmoozed with Mr. Jamie New. We had a few beers and a bit of a chat, and he got to telling me that this was his dad's car. And Mr. New was a local businessman, but very famous for having this car. Once a year, he would not drive, but he'd walk a mile to a petrol station, get a gallon of gas, walk back, pour it in this Ultima, drive it to a local car show after giving it a quick dusting off, and then drive it back and park it back up. And this was approximately 14 years ago that this car was last driven. Parked in the workshop and covered in dust. Well, really sad, God rest his soul, Mr. New passed away about 7-8 years ago. But Jamie said that this car was the car that he grew up knowing that his dad's pride and joy. So every sort of year he'd go out and he'd remember sitting in that passenger seat next to his dad, looking up to him and taking him to this one car show, and it meant so much to him, like all the hairs on my arm just stood up. Those sort of feelings to me are the most important in the world. And Mr. Jamie New said, look, I don't want to sell the car because it means so much to me. And when my dad passed away 7 years ago, I promised myself that I would take my little boy out in this car. I promised him that I would be the father figure sat in that driver's seat driving down the road, and he would have the memories like I did looking up to me driving this car. But he said, I'm getting married in a year. He said, I haven't done anything with the car in 13 years and it's just sat there. And he said, I'm getting married, I need the money. As a shrewd negotiator I am, it started off at 30 grand, I'm at 20, he's at 28, I'm at 20, he's at 27, I'm at 20. You know, I'm holding out for those low numbers. We finally agreed at like 21.5 grand, and it's a very, very cool car, which I'll get to why it's so special in just a minute. But he said to me after halfway through doing a video, because I wanted to document me buying this car, he said to me, he goes, my wedding is a certain amount of money, which was more than I'd sort of wanted to pay. And he said, look, you know, I always promised my dad that I'd love to sort of do something with the money if I ever got any money from him. And I just paid him the extra money straight away. I didn't even think about it. I gave the extra couple of grand to him and he got the money he needed. At those points in life, you can either go down the route of thinking, do you know what, I saved some money here, brilliant, or you become friends with someone for the rest of your life and you know that you've made the right decision morally. if I was in that position and I needed money to do something special that I'll remember for the rest of my life, at least someone did the right decision and made the right choice. And I gave him the extra money, gave him a hug. It's a fucking beautiful story. And now I own the car. And the whole idea was the one day he took it out every year was Boxing Day. And I said, I'm gonna get this car done by Boxing Day. And I tried and I tried and I tried, but it was so dangerous. You know, the brake lines were frayed, the car was rusty, there was foxes living in it. Like, it was too much work. I could rush it and not do the car justice, or I can leave it and something will happen in the end. Basically, when I lifted the rear clam, there was two ways this was going to go. I did a little bit of research before I got there, and these cars were called Ultima Sports, and there was only 8 made in the world. And I found out that not only was the Ultima itself the predecessor to the McLaren F1. This was the framework. This was where the origin and the handling that McLaren got their idea of making that iconic world famous supercar was from this car. Mr. Noble himself was the brain power, was the absolute engineering master that made that McLaren F1 so famous and so iconic with this kit car, the Ultima, right? This car is one of the first 8 cars ever made. I believe, which is the part I'm going to get scrutinised over, they made 6 V6 cars and 2 V8 cars, which were aluminium-headed Chevy 350 small blocks, but race-tuned. Big old 850 CFM double-pumper carburetor, nice, you know, manifolds, headers, and just sounded truly remarkable. We pulled that clam back and my heart just, you know, it hit me in my mouth. I finally found one of these 2 cars. This was the holy fricking grail McLaren F1 predecessor prototype. This was the Ultima Sports, one of 2 V8 cars. And my heart sank. You know, I'm not a V6 boy. Come on, I've driven across America in Dominic Toretto's NASCAR-powered Charger. I'm not a V6 boy. I'm a V8 guy through and through. Then I was thinking, do you know what? I've got to have this. We did the deal, shook his hand, got the car out the garage and got it back to the Wigley farm with the master mechanic. Massive thanks, by the way, to Chris Wrigley and Josh Wrigley. Without those 2 people, I wouldn't know about the car, I wouldn't be able to repair it, and it wouldn't be as good looking as it is today. After finding out this history about what Ultima was the predecessor and the framework behind the McLaren F1, and in my opinion, it did look like one hell of a Le Mans car. So me and Adam C were looking around it, having a bit of banter. And if you know Adam C, he is an iconic, very quintessentially British chap that always wears race car shirts and is predominantly a sort of bit of a chav in relation to what the car he loves, but very well spoken and high etiquette chap. And we were chatting, he goes, this would look freaking cool in the Harrods Le Mans livery. And I went, do you know what? You're not wrong, are you? So I was at SEMA this year, and after having Adam C's idea of doing the Harrods Le Mans livery Ultima, which was the first in the world to ever be done, I got to meet Abalimic Design, which is a gentleman who basically does beautiful renders to the point where you could imagine that his designs were actual real cars. And I said to him, I got an idea. He said, what's that then? I said, well, I want to do the Le Mans livery on my car, yeah? But instead of Harrods, I want to have hard ups. Yeah, so I have hard ups. So I reached out to my lady, Abshot Signs, Donna, and I said, can you do me some designs with hard ups instead of Harrods, right? Instead of Harrods livery, it says hard ups garage, yeah, or garage. And sent them to me while I was at SEMA in Vegas with this lovely gentleman who does renders. Sent to him, so I want to do a photo of this car parked outside Harrods with all the lights on the building as a render. And then when the car's finished and designed and done, I'm going to take the car to London with hard ups, high vises and hoodies and jackets or whatever. And we're going to park the car in front of Harrods and try and replicate the render with a real picture with our friend Nick Williams. And he was like, done. So within a couple of weeks coming back from SEMA, he's done the most beautiful render of my car sat outside the amazing Harrods in London. But I would really appreciate it if Harrods don't give me a cease and desist. But if not, if you do, it will give me a really, really good VINwiki story. So please take that in mind. I'd really appreciate it either way. So we basically got the car back and I had the car running and driving within a matter of hours. Went through the car, it's done 10,000 miles in all its years. It's a 1998 car, so 26-year-old car, it's done 10,000 miles. It's iconically yellow, and now it's in the Le Mans livery with the hard ups. And we're at the point now, the amazing guys at EBC have gone out of their way to give us a big brake kit. We've got rid of the AP Racing brakes that are 26 years old, and we've gone up to date 4-pot calipers front and rear. We've gone above and beyond with the brakes, the wheels, Nankang tyres have looked after us with some amazing tyres. Also, the guys at Nitron Suspension have given us over $10,000 worth of fully adjustable race shocks, which would be at the height of technology of this era. What we want to do now, which is my dream, is to get the legend, the Stig, or the former Stig, I don't want to get in trouble here, Mr. BBC, but Mr. Ben Collins, and we're going to take it to a track. We're going to corner weight it, and then we're going to see if we can beat it around the track, because a lot of people at home may know this fact, but the Ultima was actually one of the fastest cars ever on the Top Gear track. So we're going to see if we can beat that original time that the Ultima set with Mr. Ben Collins today, but with its uprated brakes and uprated suspension. What an iconic, amazing car, which then took a bit of a turn through you amazing VINwiki people. Mr. Dustin Walls sent me a message going, "Sam Hard, fellow VINwiki entrepreneur." I said, yes. He goes, "I'm pretty sure I've got a photo or a video of that car in 2000 doing 185 miles an hour. And I'm like, yeah, all right, mate. Cool. Whatever, right? Cool. You know, you get a lot of comments on these videos that can be a load of bullshit. And you get some of them that actually turn out to be real. He reached out to me and sent me a video. My car, exactly the same registration number, right, from 20 years ago, was on something called the Cannon Run in Europe. And there was a video of him, well, it's a questionable video because it's doing 185 miles an hour, but the cars that are going past him don't look like they're going past at 185 miles an hour, in my opinion. So it's either outgeared, or the camera equipment wasn't good, or maybe the speedo's out. But we will find out with the Stig if this car could do 185 miles an hour. But this car, this exact car, was used on the Cannon Run back in those days, 20 years ago, which was apparently ran alongside the Gumball Rally. It was one of Mr. Maximilian's cousins who had another subsidiary run as well, I believe. So it's quite amazing to find this iconic, famous car that was on the Cannonball Run to also be an iconic prototype, in my opinion, and one of former 8 cars to now be a Harrods Le Mans livery car. And now I've got to sell it and see if I can buy a real supercar, because there's people screaming in the comment section, "Mr. Hard, that is not a supercar."
Over the last 4 years, we've partnered with Glossit to show off some of their amazing detailing products, give you some great deals, and show how much they can transform any car. But did you know that Glossit University is also one of the most amazing online resources for education, mentorship, and coaching for whatever your business is in the detailing space? Whether you do paint correction, ceramic coating, PPF, wraps, anything like that, they can take your business to the next level. And right now, they're offering free 15-minute phone consultations where you can schedule at the link in the description below. Tell them about your goals, tell them about your business, about yourself, and really where you want to get to, and they'll show you if they're online courses, they're in-person classes where I'll actually be in their August class, or they're one-on-one or group mentorship programs with Rich Light from Glossit. It's an awesome way to take your business to that next level. So set up your phone consultation now, talk to them about where you're at today, and they'll tell you where you could be tomorrow.